Hello again. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. So it's 2:05, so we're going to be beginning. I see we have quite a few of us. Welcome to today's session, How to Finance Your Summer Abroad Program. Happy New Year, and I'm so delighted to welcome so many of you to the 2026 info session for Summer Abroad. Before we begin, I do want to acknowledge the land. We wish to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. My name is Lorena Tam, and I'm the director of the Professional International Programs, includes Summer Abroad. And I've been working at the university for over 15 years. One of the things that it's been very, very close to me is funding. One of my previous roles involved managing the UFT awards, and I took on the role as part of Summer Abroad. It was very important for me to hold these sessions every year to share information, to explain how expenses work within the Summer Abroad program, but also to highlight resources that are available to US students when you're thinking about participating. I'm also really delighted that you will be having an expert, Julian Sidebottom, who's going to be joining us in a few minutes. Julian is a financial aid counselor and he has expertise in financial aid, and he's going to be unpacking some of the aspects of government aid, which is going to be very important for those who really would be looking to explore this. So what's on the agenda today? We're going to start with a quick summer abroad overview, important for those who may be new. Maybe you're just exploring these international opportunities and you have so many available to you, and you're trying to understand how the summer abroad um, really differentiates itself and what are the benefits. So I'll talk a little bit about it, just a little bit, and then I'm going to deep dive into cost and a review of the funding sources. That's the important part. The student awards is quite a large chunk of funding sources that are available to you. So I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to understand how many and how you apply for that. And that's going to take us to the step-by-step guide to the Summer Abroad Award application. Julian, as I mentioned, is our expert on government aid. So he's going to be joining around 2:45, and he's going to walk you through government aid, specifically OSAP. OSAP is for domestic students, and if you already have OSAP, I'm sure you're trying to understand how does this apply to a summer abroad course abroad. I'm definitely going to encourage you to ask questions, but hold off on the questions until the end, okay? Just understand the information, and there's going to be quite a bit that's going to be shared. Ask them absolutely at the end, and I'm hoping that we're going to have a wonderful discussion and you will leave the session today a little bit better informed about how you would fund your summer abroad program. This session is being recorded. I mentioned lots of information, so we're going to make sure it's recorded and you have access to it later on as you are completing your application. So let's begin with a quick overview about Summer Abroad. Summer Abroad's been offered through the University of Toronto for over 50 years. We're going to be celebrating our 53rd year. I can imagine. I mean, it's lots of history behind Summer Abroad. It's one of the largest group, and we sent hundreds of students, almost 700 last summer, and we hope you're going to be one of those. It's a very unique opportunity. What makes it unique from other international programs out there at UFT itself? The summer abroad courses are small UFT degree courses. A full year course that you normally would complete over 8 months, maybe from September to April. It's condensed over usually 4 weeks per year. So you're really in an intense environment where you're immersed, truly immersed in a specific topic. You have an opportunity to be with really award-winning, excellent UFT profs, UFT faculties, and international experts, and you're able to engage fully in one course over that condensed period. So it's an awesome opportunity. Learn more about a topic. Maybe you're just curious. Maybe it's an introductory course. Maybe it's a little bit higher level language proficiency that you've always wanted to develop. This is your opportunity to go abroad, get it really completed in a short, condensed period of time during the summer and receive a full credit for it towards your UFT degree. So it's fantastic. I know many students would be looking to fulfill maybe a breadth requirement or maybe an elective, depending on your degree or your program. So it's a fantastic way to do it. And so UFT credit, no, this is different. I want to highlight from exchanges. No transfer credit involved because you actually have the course on your UFT transcript itself. What's also really, really interesting, and we're really proud of it, you have access to on-site support who are there for you to provide non-academic support. Maybe you want to connect with somebody, have a conversation. Maybe you just want tips on where is the best place, really a quiet spot to study, or really find access to a local spot. So there will be support for you. You're traveling with your peers abroad on that particular course and have an opportunity during the summer to complete it. And a number of students will ask, okay, so you understand it, but why? Why somewhere abroad? And I really want you to connect with individuals. I truly want you to connect with individuals and your peers who've done this before, because I can talk about this in lengths, but you will notice when you engage with individuals who's done these before, one of the first things they're going to say is it was a life-changing experience. You have opportunity, academic benefits, I've outlined those, but over and above that, there is personal development. So the opportunity to really go outside your comfort zone, an opportunity to build your self-confidence, go to places you've never been before, and a really, really good opportunity to make lifelong friends on the way as well. I've known individuals who still come back to me and they say they've been on summer abroad with individuals they met. This is 20 years ago, and they're still reconnecting year after year, and it gives me, it really gives me goosebumps when I think of them. There is definitely a connection that gets built not only with your peers, but also with your academic instructor, which takes me to my next point about professional development. It's an opportunity to build your network, not just with the instructor who's teaching you, but with the experts on the ground. Maybe you're thinking about a science research opportunity at Switzerland. Where else would you have an opportunity to immerse yourself in that specific area, have a connection with individuals over that period of time, and explore things about your maybe your career pathways, build your networks, and really have an opportunity to have a fantastic international learning experience. So we've talked a lot about benefits, and something just quick stats I want to share. When I was actually reviewing the current literature on it, it was really interesting for me to see this survey that just got released, and this is more specific to North America. But 90% of current students and 94% of graduates say that education abroad and specifically short-term programs like summer abroad have actually helped them to build job skills. And I know it's a really competitive job market out there, and many of you are actually thinking about that. So keep this in mind as you're thinking, okay, what does investment in summer abroad, investment in time, investment in finances, what does it mean to you? Think about how it's going to impact you moving forward. And that's where we come in. So my team, a fantastic team, have put together all these offerings to you. We have over 40 summer abroad courses that are going to be offered to students for 2026 summer alone across 21 international locations. When you go on our website, one of my colleagues is going to post a link. If you've never been to summer abroad website before, explore the different programs. You'll notice they are offered on different months. Durations are different. So review them, pick something that really matches your interests, and it's going to really take your personal and academic goals even further. So I hope have convinced yourself that this is really worth your time, your financial investment. Let's unpack cost and financial resources. How do you finance this? Before we jump onto that, let's talk a little bit about cost. Cost of summer abroad. I find it's really important for students to understand that there are different components for really cost around summer abroad. The first component I want to talk a little bit about that is fees paid to the summer abroad program. This includes the summer abroad program fees. And when we talk a little bit about summer abroad program fees, it means your application fee, which is non-refundable, your 1.0 UFT course fee, field trip fee, and accommodation cost over that duration, usually 4 weeks. Over and above your fees paid to summer abroad, we also have the UFT incidental fees. And as UFT students, you would know what this means. It's something you pay on Acon, and it slightly changes depending on which college you belong to. So that's just going to be put on to Acon as normal. In addition to fees paid to somewhere abroad and your incidental, you also have your personal estimated expenses. These are not paid to the University of Toronto, hence estimates. We always want you to be aware of it and keep this in your budgeting because it's important, and also because it ranges so much based on your own personal needs and your personal preferences. So, for example, these include your round trip airfare. Maybe you're thinking about flying from Toronto. Maybe home is somewhere else. Maybe it's in Alberta. Maybe it's in China. Maybe it's Germany. So think about what your airfare cost may be. Some students I know are very extremely economically creative and they're going to find somehow the cheapest round trip flight. So it's again going to differ. And what we want to do is we want to share an estimate so you can plan accordingly. Local meals are similar as well. So during your free time, during the weekend specifically, maybe you want to splurge. Maybe you just want to cook something yourself. Maybe you're okay trying something really, really small, so budget accordingly. Very similar to what you may do if you are staying on campus in Toronto. Other costs include local transportation, medical travel expenses, and miscellaneous. And I'll unpack this a little bit more in a bit as well. So keep that in mind. I'm going to talk a little bit about fees paid to summer abroad based on the program you're admitted into first. Let's use an example. So the example you see on screen relates to our Italy program. The amounts here, again, very much an example. You'll notice that the cost will differ. So there are certain costs that are going to be a little bit higher, and that's going to reflect the cost of living, the prices of accommodation, your field trips, etc. So if you're a little bit more cost sensitive, I definitely urge you to look through the cost on our website and find something that you may be comfortable with. So just as a tip, I know in the past, students have often come up to me and said the Portugal program really appealed to them and was an opportunity, for example, to learn a language, which is fantastic, but it also seemed to be a little bit lower on the financial end. So take that as an example. The other programs would be Oxford, extremely competitive every year, and you'll notice it tends to be a little bit on the higher cost, and that will just simply reflects the higher standard of living, the cost of accommodation in Oxford is a little bit higher. Okay, so let's come back to our example for Italy summer abroad. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see cost for the domestic. This is all on our website. So if you're thinking about Italy, go on to the Italy program and on the left navigator, click on cost, and this should open up for you. So left navigator is the cost for a domestic student. If you currently pay domestic tuition fee to the University of Toronto, then domestic fees apply to you. If you're currently at the University of Toronto paying international tuition fees, the cost on the right-hand side, if our international students would apply. So you'll notice on the screen, we've already broken it down because we want to be transparent. We want you to kind of have a better understanding of what fees paid to somewhere abroad means. So we've listed application fee, course fee, field trip fees, and also accommodation. So that's available to you. So you have an understanding of how cost works. In addition, as I mentioned, you'll have incidental fees and you'll have additional costs. These are all estimates. Again, really depends on what your preferences would be for airfare, meals, etc. So now that we've talked about costs and used Italy as an example, let's talk about financing and funding these particular opportunities. So how do students go about this? Every year I mention, and I really reiterate that when you think about funding your opportunity abroad, think about stacking your resources. And when I talk about stacking resources, I mean combining them. Don't rely on one resource to fund you. It's usually not possible. So, if you're, for example, a current domestic student who have access to government aid, whether it's OSAP because you are a domestic Ontario resident, or maybe you're from BC, you get BC loans, don't rely on that exclusively. Think about other sources of funding. Think about picking up a part-time opportunity, work study program, and I'll talk a little bit about these in detail. Maybe there are other contributions that you could also kind of address. Or number four, the very important part is UFT student awards. There's quite a bit of funding across University of Toronto. UFT really wants you to be taking part in these international opportunities. And I want to make sure students understand that these resources exist, what are the eligibility criteria, and how you go about applying it. So let's start with the first one. I'm not going to go into detail because Shillian's going to talk about this. It's his area. Essentially, government aid is for students who are participating in summer abroad. We want you to realize and understand that if you currently receive government aid, you may actually be eligible to apply for summer OSAP if you're an Ontario resident or financial aid from your home province. It's simply the same as you were taking a summer course because these are UFT degree credits. Isn't that fantastic? Good. So the second and third part is part-time employment. If you haven't looked into it, do consider different part-time employment. And I know that's sometimes hard because you may be taking a full course load, etc. But definitely something for you to keep in mind. And number three is we too want students to demonstrate that they have really tried to put together maybe small savings. And if you have any family or anyone who can contribute towards it, think about how those elements can add to your current budgeting as well. There are quite a number of links that are going to be embedded in my slides, and don't worry, I will be making sure that slides are available to you as well when you're on a Summer Abroad website. As long as you have a profile created, individuals will be able to access these under the document library on the Summer Abroad portal site. Okay. Let's move to student awards, the most important piece. And this gets me really excited because there's quite a bit of funding usually there for those who are eligible. So a wide range, as I note on the slide, are usually available for international opportunities such as summer abroad. These awards, to note, do not have to be paid back. We often get asked about those. So these are non-repayable. We grant it, we apply it towards your program fees, and you do not have to pay this back. It's not a loan. These are available to current UFT undergraduate degree students who meet specific criteria. Awards usually will have different criteria. Some of these would be specifically only on financial need. Others, and I'll talk a little bit about it, may include a merit, and merit may mean different things, and I'll refer to that in a bit as well. So, though, again, recapping different sources, you've got government aid, you've got maybe a part-time job, you've got other contributions coming in your family or other sources, and also UFT awards. So, what are really UFT awards? What do we mean by that? There are two pieces that I want to talk a little bit about. One is student awards that are administered through the Summer Abroad office. So those are part of your application, and I'll guide you through that. The second important piece is like, remember how I said stack resources, always apply to all awards or any kind of funding that you're eligible to. So when you're applying for summer abroad, don't stop at our summer abroad award application. Look to see what else is out there at the University of Toronto. There is an international experience, we call it the IE Awards Plus, that's offered through the Center for International Experience, CIE. So CIE also oversees a number of international opportunities. They're a different office just down the street on St. George and College. And on their website, you will notice that they have this award and they have really opened up their IE Awards Plus every year and made it eligible to summer abroad participants. So as soon as you are admitted or when you're thinking about putting in your application, I definitely encourage you to view the International IE Awards Plus information and make sure you are applying for those particular funding. What else is out there? Well, there's additional funding that's offered to your college, faculty, or even your division. So if you're a Woodswood College student, for example, I'm standing in the Woodswood College office right now, then it's pretty seamless. Your award application is already part of Summer Abroad, already taken care of. If you belong to any of the other colleges under the Faculty of Arts and Science, do note that they have other additional awards. VIG, UC, they have funding, so make sure you're applying for those as well. If you're, for example, at Scarborough, maybe you're a Scarborough students, know that other campuses and other divisions have funding opportunities. Explore those as well. There are so many opportunities, funding opportunities out there. We have included a link at the bottom. If you've never encountered or really used the tool Award Explorer, I encourage you to do so. Go into Award Explorer, and this is not even for summer abroad. This is just funding in general at GFT. Go into the tool, even if you type in travel awards, it's going to list up all different types of awards and then pick and apply for all the awards where you meet eligibility requirements. Okay, so now that I've talked a little bit about awards, I would like to use a student profile as an example. It's always helpful just using an example to explain how this could work for you. So I am going to use example of Ellie. Again, names change, but the student's real. So a domestic student from 2025, Italy summer abroad, using the same example to keep things easy. On the left side, Ellie put together her expenses, and on the right side, this is how her funding package worked. So on the left side, you'll see all her program fees and other expenses were put together, and she came up to a specific total, 9960. This is from last year. This is what it looked like. And on the right-hand side, you'll see how the student was able to combine different resources. The student had a little bit of savings, employment income, was able to access the government assistance, and in addition to that, was able to apply and was successful in receiving Summer Abroad Awards 3000 and also the CIE Award Plus of 2000. And this is how they were able to fund their Summer Abroad experience in 2025. So let's walk and move to a second example. This is Dan, again, name change, but the student's real from our 2025 South Korea program. This is an international student, and I wanted to talk a little bit about international students because we do receive a number of inquiries from international students. Can they access funding? Yes, however, I do really want to be realistic that the funding for international students tend to be limited. You may be able to access some funding through the CIE Award Plus, also available and open to both domestic and international students. However, you will note that the funding for international students, not surprisingly, is generally a lower. So for Dan put together their 2025 expenses on the left, and on the right, this is how Dan was able to fund their 2025 South Korea program. So I hope using examples makes it a little bit easier for you to think about how you would budget for your particular program. So let's move to student awards. Remember how I mentioned we have funding? I love sharing the stats every year. We're really proud that we make it an important piece of our information sharing for 2025 summer alone. Woodswood College provided almost $400,000 to our 2025 summer abroad participant. And our participants came from the three campuses, from different faculties, from different colleges. And I know that a number of students benefited from this funding. This stats, remember, this is from one source alone. So there are additional funding that's provided through CIE, through the different colleges. So know that funding is out there. We want to learn a little bit about what are the eligibility and how do you apply to these different awards. So here's the award for summer abroad awards. So you need to be a current undergraduate student. Sorry, it's not open to non-degree students. You must have completed at least 4.0 at the end by the end of December 2025, last term. We do want to make sure that academically you're progressing well. So there was a minimum CGPA put in there. There's a priority given to students who would be participating in summer abroad for the first time because we really want more students to be part of this. And students in their final year, of course, you may be thinking about applying. So we would invite you to apply. But we do want to share and want to be upfront and transparent that preference will be given to students who are returning back. Summer abroad awards, for the most part, are given to students who have financial need. So it's usually under criteria A awards, which require students to demonstrate that there is a financial need involved. There is a small limited amount of fund that would be based on merit alone. So just giving you a visual, majority of the funds would go to summer abroad needs-based awards. Again, integrated as part of summer abroad application on a portal, makes everything really easy and smooth. And there is then a supplementary application for those who may be thinking about merit-based award. On the screen, you'll notice I mentioned something called the DRG Undergraduate Scholarship. It's a very specific award, and it's for those who are thinking about applying for the fine arts course in France, in Paris. It is only eligible to students who are in the FAH course. And I do want to highlight that even though the application is through a portal, it's actually administered, selected through the Department of Art History. So I'm not going to be covering the DRG award today. I'm going to focus on the top two, which are administered through our summer abroad office. So what are the key things for you to know? One application. If you're thinking about a financial needs-based award, you don't have to complete multiple applications for multiple awards. No, just one application makes your life a lot more easier. And you only need to demonstrate financial need again once when you're completing your application. And that simply means uploading any supporting document. And we know student situations are different. So depending on your own personal situation, upload a financial document accordingly. And this could be maybe an existing OSAP or government aid assessment or any other document that you see really would demonstrate your financial situation. The next slide here really has a list of all the award names. I want you to view it, but I don't really want you to put too much thought in it. The reason why I always list them is to really make sure students understand that we actually have a number of awards, but you only need to apply and submit one needs-based award to access all these different summer abroad awards. So we take over all the matching, and then based on your application, we would then grant it to the individual who best match the award that we've listed here. But for you, it's good for you to be aware, okay, what are the different types maybe of awards? What's the range that's normally given annually? And also I want students to recognize that for most of our awards, we have multiple recipients. So it's not just one recipient for one award. Some of our awards you will see they have multiple recipients every year, which is fantastic. There are some awards, for example, the Alex War Award, that's specific to a destination. So that may be something you want to keep an eye on when you're thinking about applying. Would these award or the availability of an award for a specific destination play a role in your decision making on where you want to go? It's up to you. Feel free to look through the details. Again, they are already available to you under cost when you go under the summer abroad program. Summer Abroad Inclusion, Diversity, and Excellence Award. This award we were able to launch 3 years ago, and we have had an amazing group every single year who have been recognized for their absolutely fantastic work in really advancing equity, diversity, and inclusion. Preference is given to Black and Indigenous students, and there are every year 4 awards, $5,000 each, that are awarded. If you have done work in advancing EDIA, I strongly encourage you to make sure you're highlighting those aspects in your award application. Every year we are blown away when we read about the fantastic work that our students have done, and we want to make sure that you're recognized for it. And what you see on the screen is the 2025 EDIA Award recipients. So just a quick recap on this slide. Again, submit one application, sorry, not a recap, but a different information. Submit one needs-based award. And if you're looking for merit-based award, which is what this slide is about, then you would be submit a supplementary award application to be considered for merit-based award. And I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier. The merit awards are a little bit more limited, and that's reflected on the screen. We just have 4 awards, and the number of recipients are a little bit smaller, so they tend to be a bit more competitive. But of course, we invite applications, and we really encourage you to highlight what accomplishments and what aspects of you really sets you apart. We would really value you providing that information in your merit-based award form. So let's talk a little bit about the award application and the form itself. So the first thing, if you have not done so already, please do log into the Summer Abroad portal, and the login is right on our website. It's kind of screenshot on this slide there. Create your profile and really start exploring the different opportunities and understand how the different forms work. What I'm showing right now is a screenshot of the Summer Abroad application. When you start your application, maybe you're thinking about Italy, maybe you're thinking about your Paris program, you will be completing your Summer Abroad application, and at the end of it, it will ask the question, do you want to apply for an award based on financial need? And if you're a domestic student, again, a tip, select yes. It's sometimes shocking when somebody says no when they actually do need the funding. So again, encourage you to select yes if you do have demonstrated financial need, and it will automatically take you to the award application. If you're an international student, please select no. And what I'm also going to highlight is, remember how I talked about the merit awards? Well, if you go back into the tab on the top, you will search for awards and bursary, and you will be redirected to complete the supplementary merit-based award application for there as well. So a nice tip. So how does the award application work? Well, it's going to be integrated with your Summer Abroad application, and the sections are quite straightforward. The first part is just going to outline the award criteria and the selection process so you understand what the different awards mean. So remember to keep clicking on the navigation, and the details open up for you. So this is a screenshot of what your statement and academic information section looks like, so you can review it in details. There's going to be a section that's going to ask, how do you meet the criteria of the award? So do pay attention to this. Sometimes I will see students write one line, and I'm going to be upfront, it's not going to be enough. You really have to provide a clear, detailed statement, and it has to be your original statement. I don't want to see any statements that look like there's been external help that's been part of the submission, please. So keep that in mind. Original statement, just write from your heart. Tell us why you and how do you meet the criteria for this particular funding. There's a section on personal information as well, so complete that accordingly. It's pretty straightforward. And if you currently receive any government aid, there'll be a section and you'll be asked to indicate the appropriate information here. There is one section that is optional, so I do really want to highlight this part. You'll notice when you're completing your award application, there's one section that's going to say additional awards with specific criteria. It's going to be optional. However, I strongly recommend that you complete it. And if you're comfortable self-declaring yourself, please do. So the first question, for example, would be, are you registered with accessibility services for somewhere abroad? Second is, you're confirming you're an Indigenous student. And third is, do you self-identify as a Black student? Information that you indicate here is only shared on a needs to know basis with the selection awards committee, and it's only used to match you with the appropriate fund. I want to be clear, it's not used for admission into somewhere abroad or for any other consideration. It's simply to make sure that the awards are where the award criteria indicates that preferences, for example, given to Indigenous students, that we do make sure that those funds are matched to students who have self-declared as being Indigenous student. Okay, that's helpful. The next section, there'll be questions on leadership, curricular, community involvement. And I encourage you, these are optional sections, but if you're, for example, thinking about that EDIA award, this is the place where you really want to outline what you've done to enhance EDIA. Maybe it's through certain leadership initiatives, maybe it's co-curricular activities, maybe you've really launched a new initiative in your community. So here's a space for you to highlight your achievements. Next section would be mandatory section, and this helps you really calculate your own financial resources. So a budget space, if you have savings, employment income, put that information together. And I want to highlight that students are expected to contribute in some way towards your summer abroad program. Students should not be expecting for summer abroad awards to cover 100% of all your summer abroad expenses. Okay. Next, last point would be on documentation. So if you're applying for needs-based award, you too need to upload supporting document, and there'll be language and assistance to really help you guide you through that upload. Last part, last but not the least, it's an important tip, believe me. Remember to submit your application. We sometimes find students get into all the different pieces and they are so passionate about this. They forget to hit submit. And I apologize. It's sometimes not the easiest, not the easiest button to see, but to ensure that you have clicked the submit application. And as soon as you do that, you will receive a confirmation email thanking you for doing that. So that's the end. Form looks hopefully straightforward and simple. And I'm going to now talk a little bit about deadlines. So what deadlines are we talking about? Keep in mind there are two. One's early deadline, January 14th. If you're thinking about any of these programs on the top bullet, please to submit your summer abroad program application and your award application by January 14th. For all of the programs, February 4th is your deadline. Award decisions, we try to make sure that they're in sync with the admission decisions. So as soon as the admission decision emails go out, normally in a day or two, the funding decisions go out as well. So you are better informed about this, your resources before you make a decision to move forward. Should you be selected for a Summer Abroad Award, the Summer Abroad Award will be applied towards the Summer Abroad program fees. Don't worry, we'll talk a little bit more about details once you're admitted. Here's a quick overview of timelines. So right now we're in January. time to explore, complete all application, talk to individuals who've done it before, and remember to complete everything by the application deadline. Once the deadline hits, we do assessments. The team's fantastic about that. They'll keep everyone informed. Admission decisions will go out, and then within 1 week of your admission notification, you will be asked to put in a 1,000 deposit to lock in your space, and then remaining fees, and then pre-departure outline right after that. So that's the end of my summer abroad piece, and I am now going to really invite Julian Sidebottom, who is a financial aid counselor, to really take over the screen, and then perfect timing, Julian on that. So I'm going to stop sharing, and Julian, over to you. Take it over.
All right, excellent. So, my name's Julian. I'm here from the University Registrar's Office, and I'm here primarily to speak about OSAP. We'll talk about a little other things. So, my office is located just north of Bloor Street on St. George. We were previously called Enrollment Services. We're now called the University Registrar's Office. We also work with out-of-province financial aid. If you are receiving out-of-province financial aid, then I'd encourage you to reach out to the out-of-province team directly and then identify you'll be participating in the summer abroad. The reason being is that it's important that both you and the out-of-province team know your plans and know what's required, as each province is a little bit different. So in terms of OSAP, which I'll primarily be speaking of, OSAP stands for the Ontario Student Assistance Program, and it's for students who are Canadian citizens, permanent residents, or protected persons, and who are also residents of Ontario. So the government's designed this program as an assistance program. It's not meant to cover all costs. The idea is that the financial aid here has helped to help bridge the gap between the cost of going to school and your resources. For summer abroad, OSAP will consider the costs of a regular U of T course, or the cost up to a regular U of T course. So costs such as airfare can't be considered by OSAP, and you'll need to look to other resources. The basic OSAP formula is it's the assigned expenses minus the assumed resources is the funding assistance. OSAP assessments are individual based on each student's specific circumstances. One of the questions that is often asked at this presentation is what could be a potential estimate for OSAP for summer abroad. But unfortunately, as each assessment is individual to each student, it's unfortunately isn't possible to provide an assessment of what you might receive from OSAP while participating in summer abroad. The actual OSAP assessments will become available in mid-April once those costs are approved by Governing Council. So in terms of budgeting considerations, consider budgeting not just for summer abroad, but also the following academic year in the fall and winter. The government assumes, as part of the OSAP assessment, that you're going to be contributed $3,600 each year to help fund your costs. If this comes primarily from a summer job, considering how you're going to budget so you don't run out of money in the following academic year following summer abroad. Students should apply to full-time OSAP for summer abroad. This can be a common mistake students make. They think, it's still like a short period of time, so it's part-time OSAP. However, because it is a short period of time and it is worth 1 credit, it actually counts as full-time by OSAP's criteria. The exception is Science Abroad in Switzerland, which runs May to August. That's just too long to be considered full-time by OSAP. So in that case, you need to apply to part-time OSAP for funding in that course, unless you're registered with a student with a permanent disability or persistent and prolonged disability status on your OSAP application. If you do have one of those disability statuses registered with OSAP, that would be considered full-time. In order to be eligible for full-time OSAP, a study period must be at least 12 weeks in length. Therefore, summer abroad on its own isn't eligible. A student must have received full-time OSAP in the 25-26 academic year, such as the fall and or winter and or summer, where that study period plus the summer abroad study period is at least 12 weeks in length. So this is one of the OSAP eligibility requirements you consider when making your summer plans, and we'll also go into some others. Summer is a great time to take a break away from your studies and earn some income. However, it is possible to take both summer abroad and regular U of T courses to study for most of the summer. For example, combining a summer abroad course in the first half of the summer and regular U of T courses July-August, or vice versa. If there's a gap of 28 days or more between the summer abroad and the regular U of T courses, those will need to be considered separate study periods by OSAP, and that's ultimately going to determine whether you apply to full-time or part-time OSAP for the regular U of T courses. Summer abroad, as I mentioned, would be full-time, but depending on what your plans are in the other part, it could be full-time or part-time OSAP. In this example, we have a summer abroad course that's in May that's worth 1 credit, and there's 1.0 credits worth a credit course of courses in July-August, just the regular U of T courses. So both would be considered full-time. The summer abroad is full-time. 1 credit July-August is considered 80% course load by OSAP. You would submit 1 application, and my office would make the necessary adjustments to reflect that and meet the OSAP criteria. In another example, summer abroad again in May, and a 0.5 credit course July-August at U of T. So the summer abroad would be considered full-time. 0.5 credits July-August is a 40% course load, so that could be considered full-time or it could be considered part-time depending on whether you have a documented disability status with OSAP. So for students with a permanent disability or a persistent or prolonged disability status on their OSAP, 40% course load is full-time. In that case, those would both be full-time applications, and as the previous slide, we would make the adjustments. If students without a disability status on their OSAP, the 40% course load, 0.5 credits July-August, would be considered as a part-time course loads. So in that case, students you would apply on a full-time application for the summer abroad course and a part-time OSAP application on for the 0.5 credits July-August. So how do you apply? If summer 2026 will be the first time applying for OSAP in this particular academic year, then you would apply on the OSAP website, ontario.ca/OSAP. If you have a confirmed full-time OSAP application in 2025 or 2026 academic year, then you would apply on a short extension application we make available on our website, on the University Registrar's website. That begins in March. So if you're applying directly on the OSAP website, you haven't had OSAP before. As I mentioned before, the big caveat with this is the minimum length of a study period must be 12 weeks in length. So if this is your plan, you'd need to combine the summer abroad with regular U of T courses and not have any gaps within that. If you're able to find course combinations that work like that, then you can apply in March and then upload a letter from yourself onto your OSAP application indicating your summer plans. Here's an example. I will take summer abroad, May 18th to June 13th, and I take a 0.5 credits July-August. You'd apply using the start date for your summer abroad, May 18th, and the end date for the summer session, August 25th. The deadline to submit an OSAP application is 60 days prior to the end of your study period. And I will highlight this again. There's not many combinations that meet OSAP policy requirements for this option. It's just typically ineligible for full-time OSAP funding. But there's still time to apply for this fall and winter. And then you can use our short summer extension application, which I'll outline now. So if you're going to use the short summer extension, if you have a confirmed OSAP application, either fall of 2025, winter 2026, or fall winter 25-26, then in beginning of March, we'll make available on our website a short extension. The deadline to apply to this is 40 days prior to the end of your study period. However, I always suggest apply early because it always takes time to either get in if there's any documents you need to submit or processing time. Here's a screenshot from our summer abroad application. So this particular course is a summer abroad course someone's taking in France. You would click at the top one, standard courses only, but that also includes summer abroad. Select your study period. It would be for the May-June session. You'd select the 1 credit, as that particular summer abroad course in France is worth 1 credit. And then at the bottom, you can select in summer abroad, you can provide the location of your course, so France, and then the course code. Here's another example, summer abroad in Ecuador of 1.0 credit regular courses, July, August at U of T. So again, be the standard courses. May, August would be the study period because the summer abroad course earlier on in Ecuador, and then the regular U of T courses later on. Select 2 credits overall, the 1 credit from summer abroad and the 1 credit at regular U of T courses. And then there's the summer abroad option indicating what your plans are. You can write down additional comments in the summer abroad box if you feel you need to explain anything or provide any more details. You can let us know in there, and you can always, if there's any other information you think you need to do regarding your plans, you can always upload a letter to your OSAP application. For the science abroad physics in Switzerland, that would be a part-time OSAP application. You would apply directly on the OSAP website for this. Enter the study dates that you'd be participating in that, May 11th to August 6th. And then upload a letter indicating what your plans are. You're planning on doing the science abroad in Switzerland, along with any other supporting documents the application asks for. Final deadlines 40 days prior to the end of the study period for part-time OSAP. BSWD, or the Bursary for Students with Disabilities. It's pretty much the same as if you're receiving this bursary for regular U of T courses. You can be considered it just as you would. Obviously, you're going to need to plan early, talk to your accessibility advisor so everything's in place prior to your summer abroad. The application is 60 days prior to the end of the study period. Any documents that are required would be 40 days, and then any of the receipts for the corresponding funding has to be provided no later than 30 days after the end of the study period. Timelines for full-time OSAP, early March, apply for OSAP. If you have OSAP right now, we'll send out an email blast once the extension is available in early March. Apply early. Mid-April is when the assessments will start to become available for complete applications. It's also when summer fees are posted as well on Acorn, so that's when you can register by either fee deferral or making a minimum payment to register. Funding's released around the start of your classes. Not possible to release it any earlier. That's just an OSAP policy. Any funding is first going to pay down whatever you owe on Acorn, and the remainder will go to whatever bank account you've indicated to OSAP. So biggest tip is apply early. Make sure when you're selecting it on your OSAP profile, select to receive electronic messages. messages received by letter mail will take a lot longer to issue, and it's probably not going to be possible to receive those while abroad. So make sure you select electronic messages, and I'd suggest that, like, even if you're not going on somewhere abroad, it's much faster to get the electronic messages. Make sure that you check the email that you've put on your OSAP application. If there's a message that we send to you and it appears in your OSAP message center, you will get an email notification that there's a message there. So make sure it's an email account that you are monitoring. Additionally, I always suggest just check your OSAP application time to time in case anything is in there. And if there's any changes to your plans, upload a letter to your OSAP application making those updates. That way we know if you change your plans, you're going to do something different. Make sure that you get that in. So here's our contact information for the office. Does anyone happen to have any questions for me?
And then end with this. Thank you to everyone for being part of today's session. Hopefully you found it informative. We have a quick QR code on the screen. If you're able to take a picture or follow it on your phone, it will take you to our website and a couple of helpful links to help you with next step. All the best for your winter term, for your current courses, and we hope to see everyone abroad for 2026 summer. Take care. Bye.